That's what we're going to do. Killer rocket scientists versus expert detectives. This one's going on YouTube too. Okay? This one's going on YouTube too. We're attorneys today. We're not attorneys. I hate saying that because I'm not trying to fuck with a killer rocket scientist, which does sound tough, but he's a killer. But yeah.
2018.
Investigator.
1:05 p.m. Customers were relaxing at the Magyar Cosmetica Spa, located at 11 Marablu Drive in Aliso Viejo, when something inside the spa exploded.
God damn.
911, what is your emergency?
Please, there's someone inside.
In a hurry, first responders rushed to the scene. When they arrived, they discovered devastating news. There were 3 victims in the spa that were caught in the explosion. A mother and daughter who survived with severe burns and lacerations, and Ildiko Krajniak, the owner of the spa, who was killed instantly. The inside of Ildiko's spa was unrecognizable, and the blast was significant enough that human remains were discovered outside of the building. Local authorities immediately opened an investigation into the explosion, and began by interviewing the 2 people that were injured from the blast. According to these witnesses, they were inside the spa with Ildiko, having just completed their treatments. As they went to the front desk to make their payment, they saw Ildiko pick up a package and walk into her office. As soon as she tore it open, there was a bright flash and a loud explosion.
All right. Okay, that's our first clue. We already know there was a killer rocket scientist. But she must have somebody that doesn't fuck with her. Or this is my educated guess right now. It was a salon or some treatment shit like that. I don't know, dude. I pay attention, but I also have really bad ADHD. Listen. Person might have worked there before. Okay? Person might have worked there before. And then, let me turn this down. Person might have worked there before. So that being said, you know, trying to get his get back after getting fired. Who knows?
But I don't remember it being that way.
These witness statements made it evident to law enforcement that the explosion was not an accident or the result of a gas leak, but likely a targeted attack. The FBI located materials in the blast zone that are typically found in homemade explosives, confirming their beliefs that this was caused by a bomb.
At this point, our working theory is that this explosion was caused by a device. And although the damage was extensive, there are some components that we have located at the scene of the explosion that are inconsistent with what one might expect to find at this business.
At this point, the investigators had a handful of questions. For example, how did an explosive device make its way to the spa?
A spa, okay.
Was Ildiko the intended target? As they continued to search for these answers, they received a call from a 64-year-old man named Stephen Beal. Stephen helped Ildiko manage the spa, and when the news broke about the explosion, he was unable to contact Ildiko, so he reached out to the police for help. Since it was so early into the investigation, police were unable to provide any information. However, they were concerned that he might also be a target since he was a part of the spa's management team.
Okay, so that further goes to my point, okay? Hear me out. He got fired. Dude wasn't... but you got to think about it. I mean, no diss to anybody working at fucking Lucky Nails or whatever the shit it's called. Like, you know, like rocket scientists aren't nail stylists. They're just not. It's not what happens. That's not the case. So I just have no clue. My first intuition was, oh, maybe he worked there. Fuck those 2. I'm starting to think now, it's a personal vendetta against that bloodline. Bumbleclap bloodline. That's what it is, bro.
So they drove directly to his house. Upon arrival, they noticed that he had some unopened parcels, and exercising caution, they asked for his permission to inspect them.
Can they go inside and take a look at those packages?
Please. Right as you open the door, the packages are to the left. There's 3 and they're in a stack.
Once the officers ruled out any threats, they conducted a preliminary interview with Stephen. They were wondering if he was aware of any enemies that Ildiko may have had.
I cannot come up with a single thought for who would ever want to hurt her. She was always smiling. she had great advice for people. She, she cared. She went out of her way to ease your burden, to do things for you. She'd buy things for people. She, when we go traveling, she'd send texts to various clients and friends. Say, what do you want me to bring? We bring back keychains. That's just the kind of, she's a very giving person.
Stephen spoke so highly of Ildiko that the officers wondered if the two were anything beyond business partners, so they asked Stephen about their personal relationship.
That's something I was going to say. I didn't want to be streamer Pause a lot. Benji Pause a lot. I didn't want that to be my name. Mr. BENJICODONE Pause a lot. But this is what I'm thinking. The rocket scientist fucks with her. If I can't have her, no one can have her type energy. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking.
We met.
That's
June
definitely what I'm
19th,
thinking.
2016 was our first date.
I noticed you remember the exact date. How'd you guys meet?
Tinder.
Oh, through Tinder?
Yeah.
Tinder.
Okay. So June 19th, 2016, you met through Tinder.
Yeah, we were dating. We're business partners.
Got
we're
it.
still, very good friends, and but we're not dating anymore.
How long did you guys have a dating relationship?
About a year and a half.
Since detectives now knew that Ildiko was cheating on her husband, they wondered if her husband's knowledge of the affair could be a motive for the attack. So just like that, the spouse
Wait, run that
became
back.
the-
Run that back. Run that back.
How long did you guys have a dating relationship?
About a year and a half.
Since detectives now knew that Ildiko was cheating on her
Okay.
husband, they wondered if her husband's knowledge of the affair could be a motive for the attack. So just like that, the spouse became the first suspect. This is Ronilo Krajniak, Ildiko's husband. At the time of the explosion, Ronilo wasn't even sure where his wife was. In fact, he had told his friends
Oh
that
my
he
God.
believed that she was still on a trip to Hungary. When he heard that Ildiko's spa had been bombed, he immediately jumped in his car and drove to the scene. When he arrived, he asked the officers if his wife was in the building, and he was met with devastating news. After informing him of her death, the officers also presented him with a warrant to search his and Ildiko's home. The search was exhaustive. However, investigators were unable to locate any incriminating evidence.
So it might not
Search
be him.
warrants were served earlier this morning.
Or it still might.
One at the business
Might
on
be him.
Maryville and one in Tribuco Canyon. At this time, there are no arrests.
Authorities acknowledge they have no profile of a suspect or suspects.
Directly following the search, the police conducted an interview with Ronilo, who had some suspicions of his own. Ronilo told officers about a building handyman named Max that maintained the commercial building where the spa was located. Apparently, Max had keys to each unit in the building and would often sleep in his van in the parking lot overnight. This seemed like a promising lead, since the building's cameras were not working, and Max was one of the only people with knowledge of this. However, after interviewing Max, he was also quickly cleared as a suspect. Another thing that Ronilo told the police was that in the months leading up to the attack, he had received text messages from a woman named Elizabeth, who claimed that Ildiko had an affair with her husband, Gabor Pap. Elizabeth was questioned and told the officers the entire story. Apparently, in 2015, Elizabeth overheard Ildiko and Gabor having intercourse, which led to a physical altercation at Ildiko's spa. After this altercation, Gabor ended the affair and continued his relationship with Elizabeth. But eventually, Ildiko popped back up as she tried to reconnect with Gabor through Facebook. Despite this tension between the two women, Elizabeth denied any involvement in the bombing and was ultimately ruled out after cooperating with investigators. The next suspect on the detectives' radar was a man who was witnessed with Ildiko the morning of the explosion. This man was named Scott, and before the detectives could locate him, he showed up to the crime scene on his own accord, expecting to take
Who
Ildiko
is
out for
Scott?
lunch. As it turns out, Ildiko was having an affair with Scott as well, and Scott was one of her newest boyfriends. Scott told the detectives that he and Ildiko first met at a casino only a few weeks earlier, and they continued seeing each other from that point on.
Huh.
He explained...
Okay. It's music to my ears. I might rip off this tie and go to the casino right now. I might pull up that never mind. I might pull up that never mind website. You get what I'm saying? I might pull up that stake.nevermind website. But if you want to find love, there's no greater love than a love at a poker table, right? Okay? Just a message out there, right? You want to gamble something, gamble your heart on that goddamn, on black. Put your heart on black.
That Ildiko went
Facts.
on a trip to Hungary just 8 days before the explosion, and that he was her transportation to and from the airport. When he picked her up from LAX on May 14th, the evening before her death, the two spent the night together, and then Scott dropped her off at her spa the following morning. To corroborate his account, investigators reviewed the security footage from LAX. The footage from the LAX baggage claim confirmed Scott's story to be true, but upon further examination of Ildiko's itinerary, they discovered that she had actually booked a connecting flight through San Francisco before heading to Hungary. When reviewing the footage of the San Francisco airport, a new suspect emerged. Ildiko was seen flying to Hungary with another man. The mysterious
Yo,
man
what's
that
up with
Ildiko
this chick, bro? R.I.P. But like, you know what? I'm not even gonna say
was
nothing.
seen traveling with was Laszlo Zarbo. Police got in touch with Laszlo, and he told detectives that he and Ildiko had been in an on and off relationship, and the trip to Hungary was the last time that he saw her. To rule him out further, police confirmed that he had not been in Southern California for months, so it was unlikely for him to have planted the bomb in the spa. And just as it appeared that the detectives were back at square one, they received an unexpected visit from Ildiko's business partner and ex-boyfriend, Stephen Beal. Stephen was seeking updates about the ongoing case and volunteered to speak with detectives about the incident.
Let's run it!
Before we start, I just want to, you're here voluntarily, you came in, drove in on your own. No one from the sheriff's department or any law enforcement agency.
I'm here with him, look.
Told you to come down, so when you're done talking to us, and just let me know when we can open that door right over there, and you can be on your way.
Okay, appreciate that.
As far as the business dynamic went, how did you guys split responsibilities or stuff as far as all
So
that
think
goes?
of her as the owner and me as the business manager, because I spent many years as an executive consultant. So she was my boss. So we would discuss things, but she had the final say.
Remember, this guy came here on his own accord, looking for updates. Probably they said, hey, you want updates? Let's talk a little bit. We'll share some information. That's what Investigator Benji would say.
Stephen explained that as their business flourished, so did their relationship. However, by 2018, their relationship started to face challenges.
I confronted her with some changes in her behavior.
Like what?
Well, when we first started dating, she gave me access to, she gave me her sign-on credentials for her United account. This is just as an example.
Why?
Numerous little things like this. And then she, at one point, just for seemingly no reason, she, changed her password and wouldn't tell me what the new password was, which was okay.
Right.
But that, along with other little things, just sort of indicated to me that she had something going on. Okay.
Stephen was already aware that Ildiko was married, but as the relationship fell apart, he learned that she was juggling other secret boyfriends as well.
So I just talked to her about that, and she admitted that she was going up to Sacramento to see another man.
Yeah, she came clean about it.
And the issue was, for me, why are you trying to hide it?
Yeah.
Because the reality is, if she had come to me and said, I really think that I want to, open up our relationship a little bit. I don't want to be exclusive. I want to, date other men. I would have said, okay, that's fine, we'll do that.
While Stephen's demeanor is calm as he is reflecting on his relationship with Ildiko, it was obvious that he had felt betrayed by her actions. The question became, was this betrayal the motive for killing her? He also had the skills needed to build a destructive device, which he makes clear when he's asked about his experience with explosives.
Okay, so this is our suspect. The dumbass. Listen, he's prime right now. If not many people have not many people have experience with explosives, right? You grow up, you shit, you piss, your mom changes your diaper. Cool. You go to elementary school. You want to be a cop or some shit. You get out of college and you go stream. Fucking whatever you do. Not many people are getting into the explosive business, the TNT business, bro. Bro, this is him.
We would build model rockets, and I started this years ago when my kids were little, and it got to be almost an obsession. And so, we built a 25-foot tall, 15 diameter, 4-stage rocket.
It It turned out that Steven's favorite hobby was building and launching large-scale model rockets. And in his toolbox was several
He's
chemicals
cooked.
that could
He's
be used
cooked,
to create
CB.
the bomb in question.
So let's say, for example, when they do their analysis
He's
of
cooked.
chemicals found there, chemicals found in your home, would it just be a coincidence if it's the same?
Well, yeah. I mean, again, I don't remember what chemicals are around in the house because I haven't taken them down. I haven't looked at them. I haven't thought of them. I didn't even know where they were.
Right.
In many, many years.
Would someone with your type of experience be able to convert that into something on a bigger scale?
I saw the devastation, in the pictures and news reports. I have no idea how you would put something together that would cause something like that.
Okay, didn't I just say? Let me look at my notes here. Hold on. Let me look at my notes, bro. Didn't I just say that it's some, boyfriend, bro, that's trying to get back? Dude, you just told me you're going to go see somebody in Sac? You're flying to Sac to go see somebody? Case closed.
Yeah,
I would stand up. I'd be like, yo, you done know. You done know, you know. You done know, you know. I would do this with the tie, loosen it up, pull up the pants. You done know, you know. Dead ass, bro.
Don't know. I don't know how you would go about doing that. That looks like a C4 sort of explosion or something, I mean, like some sort of very high explosive. I don't know what they did.
Despite his attempt to negate the chemical evidence, Stephen himself admits that he could have the means to commit this crime.
Your whole deal is, means, motive, and opportunity. And I don't know I don't know anybody that has the motive.
Okay, what about the means?
I don't know what's in my garage. I don't know what chemicals they found.
He wasn't talking about you.
I suppose I could probably fall into that category if the chemicals are right. I mean, I don't know.
Self-blame. Big red flag. I could never kill her. I love her. That's what someone would say. Come on.
But if they're taking the chemicals out, I would appreciate that they look at them, for how much dust is on them. Because, if it's 8 years worth of dust accumulation on there, it would show up.
If this interview wasn't suspicious enough already, Stephen also mentioned a conversation with his new girlfriend Valerie, where they discussed writing stand-up comedy about the attack.
Valerie looked at me.
Oh,
yesterday.
no!
We were talking about, life goal. Immediate life goal right now is to get to the point where we look at this particular set of events and can joke about it because we think it's funny, because it's not. Mm-hmm. And then she said,
so much. He's saying so much of nothing.
You need to do a stand-up comedy routine about it, because there's a lot of really, potentially humorous anecdotes that are just wrapped up in the most intense life situations.
Yeah.
And if the audience can relate to what you're going through, and it's delivered in a humorous manner, you're going to win. People love to be entertained.
If you're wondering what could possibly be humorous about someone dying in such a gruesome
Los Angeles.
way,
This is in Los Angeles. I think. I'm pretty sure. We'll definitely know at the end. Yeah.
you're not alone.
Yeah.
Stephen's willingness to use
We'll know when this motherfucker gets booked. If it's him. Listen, I don't need his family watching this video and thinking I'm a real attorney.
This tragic event as part of his stand-up routine was only one of many red flags. He had also made a peculiar comment about how the bomb may have been triggered by Ildiko.
Going back to something you just mentioned, you talked about the size of the package that she would have had to have opened in order to have done that kind of damage. Why would you assume it was a package that she opened?
Because it's in the news reports.
That she opened a package?
It said it was a package.
It said it was a package.
Is that the only way that package could be utilized?
I don't know. I suppose you could have a timer in there or a cell phone or something that would, that would trigger it. It's just package for me means you open it. I mean, that's my assumption. When I get a package in the mail, I open it. other than that,
You want to know how I know that they didn't think he was a suspect at all? Because I watched these interrogation videos. They usually close the door. One, they close the door so they kind of feel like they're trapped a little bit. When they're trapped, they feel more vulnerable and they're more willing to go through mental exhaustion to the point where they say something, right? Secondly, they usually put them in the corner the farthest away from the door for that same reason. For that same reason. This guy could literally get up, hello neighbor, his ass out of the door.
I don't know.
He
Was
will.
this a
He will.
Freudian slip from Stephen? How could he have possibly known that
will
Ildiko
let
had
it all
opened
out.
a package, triggering the bomb? After this interview, Stephen was free to go. Not because officers believed that he was innocent, but to continue monitoring him to gather more evidence before an arrest is made. As they monitored him, police discovered that Stephen had been on disability for about 10 years due to a condition known as aphasia, which causes memory loss, reading difficulties, and communication challenges. Curious about his condition, detectives attended one of Stephen's plays to observe him in action. To their surprise, his performance showed a man who did not appear to struggle with any of the outlined symptoms.
Good enough. How many more people are going to have to die before you do something useful? This case is spiraling crazy out of control. When the media gets wind of Mr. Segerstrom here, there's going to be a feeding frenzy, and we're going to be at the very center of all of that national attention.
Whether Stephen had this condition or not, it became evident to the detectives that he had a habit of bending the truth. Following his performance, investigators got a warrant to search Stephen's property. They hit the jackpot.
Look how they're pulling up, though. You see that riot shield? They pulled up to his crib with a riot shield. Like, what is this? What is this, a whole fucking RCXD over here, bro? We got fucking RCXDs going in the bro's house. He's done. He's done. They got RCXDs in the house. Oh.
Was the scene at his Long Beach home where armed federal
It
agents
is an RCXD.
swarmed the street and broke down his doors. Investigators found items used to make the bomb at the scene that matched items inside Beal's car and home.
There was about 130 pounds of chemicals, along with 2 improvised explosive devices, electrical wires, and matches. Stephen claimed that it had been years since he last built a rocket, and that the chemicals found
Rain
in the garage
soon, let's
sat
go.
around unused. At this point, detectives were unable to charge Stephen with any crimes directly connected to the bombing. But as a result of the search, he was arrested by the FBI on an unrelated charge, the possession of 2 unregistered explosive devices.
Now investigators are turning their attention to the dead woman's ex-boyfriend, whose hobby involves building rockets and sending them into the sky using powerful propellants.
Neighbors say they often saw Beal building the rockets in his driveway.
And he was setting off homemade rockets.
And you said that they were as tall as a person, the rockets?
Yeah, some of them were.
Only about a week after his arrest, Stephen would be a free man.
Out of jail and free, prosecutors dismissed the charge against the man arrested for a blast that killed his ex-girlfriend.
Well, federal prosecutors dropped the criminal charge.
CBS LA, Los
What the
Angeles.
feds are saying is that they dropped this charge without prejudice, which means it could be refiled at a later date. There were questions about the devices seized from Stephen Beal's home and whether by law they can be defined as destructive. So Stephen Beal was set free.
Mr. Beal, any comments?
What?
All right, where are you?
Stephen's new girlfriend Valerie picked him up from the jail once he was released, and investigators went right back to gathering evidence to charge him with the murder of Ildiko. While Stephen and Valerie were running errands the following day, they were stopped by the police, leading to an intense search of Valerie's vehicle, which involved a bomb-sniffing dog and 13 police cruisers. The police didn't find anything. Unfortunately, it would take nearly 10 months before their luck would change. In February of 2019, the detectives received the results back from the forensic lab. Within the results, there was a breakthrough. The chemicals and wiring recovered from the bomb were a direct match to those discovered in Stephen's garage. They also had a second breakthrough when they reviewed his bank transactions. They found that in the week before the explosion, Stephen had bought a cardboard box with dimensions that were identical to the box containing the bomb. That same day, Stephen was also recorded at a nearby Chase Bank withdrawing cash from an ATM. Moments later, Stephen used that cash at a CVS pharmacy to buy a 9-volt battery, the exact same type of battery that was used in the explosive device. If this wasn't enough, detectives were also able to obtain Stephen's cell phone records, which indicated multiple visits to the spa during Ildiko's trip to Hungary, which gave him ample time to place the bomb on her front desk. His computer activity also revealed a borderline obsessive pattern of monitoring her social media accounts and the online scheduling app for the business. And to put the nail in the coffin, police learned that by the end of their relationship, Ildiko was afraid that Stephen would harm her. She had repeatedly expressed to her friends that she was concerned about Stephen's controlling and jealous behavior. With all of this evidence piling up against Stephen, detectives were still looking for the final piece to seal his fate in the courtroom. Most of the evidence they already had was circumstantial, so they needed something firm, like a confession. So detectives hatched a new plan involving Stephen's new fiancée, Valerie. Stephen proposed to Valerie a couple of months after he was released from jail. She said yes, and to celebrate their engagement, the two went on an expensive romantic getaway. When they returned from their trip, detectives approached Valerie behind Stephen's back and offered to pay for their trip expenses if she helped them record Stephen saying something incriminating about the attack. Since she felt that it was the morally right thing to do, she consented to having hidden recording devices installed in their hotel room and in her vehicle. Additionally, she was given a necklace with a hidden microphone. Unfortunately, this didn't work, as Stephen did not feed into any of Valerie's
Dude, I'm hot
attempts
as
to
fuck in
gather
this, bro.
information. Despite
I'm
this
starting to
failed
like
plan,
fade in and out
authorities felt
of consciousness, dude. I'm starting to fade in and out of consciousness, bro. This shit's hot. I need to get through this YouTube video.
Evidence linking Stephen to the death of Ildiko. On Sunday, March 4th, 2019, Stephen was arrested and charged with the destruction of a building and first-degree murder. He was held in jail without bond.
This is the second time the man who lives in that home has been arrested in connection with the explosion that killed his ex-girlfriend. Federal agents arrived at the home in this residential neighborhood earlier today. Authorities say they have arrested Stephen Beal. Now, officers and investigators have been here at the scene for several hours conducting an extensive search of the home. His arrest is connected to that deadly explosion. So once again, Stephen Beal has been taken into custody. And again, authorities have been out here for several hours searching his home. And from what they tell us, that search is going to continue for quite some time.
Although there was a mountain of compelling evidence pointing towards him, Stephen continued to maintain his innocence. His trial began in June of 2022. 4 years after the explosion. During the trial, the prosecution presented evidence of Stephen's means, motive, and opportunity to commit the crime, portraying him as a jealous lover who couldn't tolerate Ildiko being with another man.
That's what I said! Dude, didn't I say that 5 minutes in the fucking video? Bro, I done said that.
Used materials from his home to make the bomb, and forensic analysis confirmed that the chemical residue at the crime scene matched the substances in Stephen's garage. Furthermore, his Google history included a search that said, narcissist deceiving a polygraph test. They also emphasized that Ildiko was not the only victim, as 2 other people also suffered debilitating injuries from the blast. Stephen Beal's defense team hounded the prosecutors for being more intent on proving Stephen's guilt than on identifying the actual perpetrator. The defense also presented text messages between Stephen and Ildiko, in which Ildiko expressed her desire to be with him again. These were used to demonstrate that the two remained close even after their breakup, and that Stephen was not jealous enough to want her dead. The defense argued that other individuals in Ildiko's life, such as Elizabeth Papp, Gabor's scorned wife, could have had a motive. After all, Elizabeth openly despised Ildiko. There was also the fact that the security cameras at the spa were not working. Given this piece of information, they suggested that Max, the building handyman, was a possible suspect that was glazed over by investigators. Another possible suspect was Ildiko's husband, Ranilo, who knew about her infidelity and therefore may have been motivated to kill her out of jealousy. The defense contended that Stephen's purchase of a 9-volt battery was normal, as Ildiko required that specific battery type for her business. And Stephen's search for information about deceiving a polygraph was explained by his recent audition to be cast as a polygraph examiner. After a grueling 7-week trial and testimonies from 66 witnesses, the jury was unable to reach a unanimous verdict.
A federal jury in downtown Los Angeles couldn't agree if a man from Long Beach is guilty of using a homemade bomb to kill his ex-girlfriend by blowing up the day spa she owned in Aliso Viejo. A judge declared a mistrial and sent the jurors home.
This is a major setback for federal prosecutors who spent weeks presenting a very complicated, circumstantial case in court that they hoped would convict Stephen Beal of making that bomb. And despite showing a mountain of clues that prosecutors said linked Beal to the bombing and the murder, the defense said the case
I said this once, I'm going to say it again. Fuck it. Take it to... We're playing that song after this video. Because I got to get this tie-in shit off. I can't be an attorney. I thought I could be an attorney. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. Especially for this guy. Because whatever attorney he has is better than Thug's. Blows Brian Steele out the water. It's crazy.
Direct evidence and couldn't be proven beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yo.
These sketches from closing arguments show Beal sitting at
Hold
the
on.
left there listening as prosecutors asked jurors to find him guilty of using a weapon of mass destruction to carry out the murder of spa owner Ildiko Krajnak, who was also Beal's ex-girlfriend. Earlier today, jurors told the judge in federal court downtown they were unable to reach a verdict. They were deadlocked, reportedly split 9-3. And jurors also, we should mention, sent another deadlock warning a couple of weeks ago, but they were sent back to continue deliberations. Now, at the trial, Beal's defense said the FBI made a snap judgment to prosecute Beal simply because they found those more than 100 pounds of explosive precursor chemicals in his home, said that he had the skills and knowledge on how to build bombs, and was recorded on security video buying a battery and boxes. They also said he had a plausible motive as a vengeful ex-boyfriend. But the defense said all of that was circumstantial and claimed the feds ignored other potential suspects. So now, federal prosecutors tell me they plan to retry Beal on the same charges with a new jury beginning in October.
Stephen was held behind bars until his retrial, which began 1 year later on June 29, 2023. During his second trial, prosecutors introduced the same evidence they presented.
You guys know where you at? Do you guys know where you were at June 29th, 2023? Most of 2023 has been wiped from my brain. 2022, solid year. Solid year. 2021, there's cool Snapchat memories. 2020, crazy. 2020 was crazy. All right, let's watch the video, bro. I'm chatting. I'm yapping.
However, this time they also included a recreation of the explosion and compared it to the footage of the actual crime scene. The bomb used in the recreation was designed using the exact same resources that Stephen had access to. The mannequin fragments after the blast had a striking resemblance to the state of Ildiko's scattered body parts found at the scene. The graphic illustration seemed to make a significant impact on the jurors, and on July 19th of the same year, after 90 minutes of deliberation, the jury found Stephen Beal guilty of first-degree murder.
And now to breaking news.
Come on,
Long Beach
baby!
Man is convicted in the deadly bombing of an Aliso Viejo day spa in 2018. Stephen Beal was found guilty of using a weapon of mass destruction and other charges. The blast killed his ex-girlfriend and injured 2 others inside the spa. Investigators say they later found 130 pounds of bomb-making materials inside Beal's home. He'll be sentenced in November.
On January 19th, 2024,
5 years.
64-year-old
He was
Stephen
out and about.
Beal was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, plus an additional 30 years for possession and use of an unregistered destructive device.
Friends and family of the woman who was killed expressed relief at today's sentencing, but 64-year-old Stephen Beal maintained his innocence, insisted that the wrong person was in the courtroom, which the Orange County Sheriff called an insult to justice.
Oh, it was.
At his
Oh, it was.
Stephen Beal told the judge he wished that, quote, the person who actually committed this crime was sitting.
No, bro. You're dead at. No, that's facts. A weapon, a WMD, bro? I mean, but did you see this? Did you see this?
Prosecutors had access to
They
the footage
They
of
did
the
a
actual
recreation of the
crime
explosion.
scene. The bomb used
Look at
in
this.
the recreation was designed using the exact same resources.
Bro.
The wrong person was in the courtroom, which the Orange County Sheriff
Might
called
just be.
an insult to justice. At his sentencing, Stephen Beal told the judge he wished that, quote, the person who actually committed this crime was sitting here and not me. That brought a strong reaction outside the federal courthouse from Orange County Sheriff Don Barnes.
It was an insult to the criminal justice process that he did that. We have the right guy. We have
That
the
ain't
right guy
mine.
all
That
along.
bomb ain't
The end
mine.
result is what matters, and to get an end result that will actually stick. That's what we have here.
U.S. Attorney Martina Estrada credited the conviction to a more streamlined second trial.
Mr. Beal was finally brought to justice and is off the streets and can no longer hurt anybody else.
He is currently serving his sentence at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Los Angeles.
All right. Just got to play Take It to Trial. Will I get out of this goddamn attorney outfit? I keep saying attorney. I'm not an attorney. I was a criminal investigator. And you know what? I would have saved 5 years of the goddamn case. Maybe. I said it in the first 30 seconds. Once this gets posted to YouTube, you'll see. You'll see Benji ain't lying. Benji paused a lot ain't lying. Bro, what did you just send me, dog? Hold on. Nah, bro. You Dude. That shit's crazy, dog. Crazy. Shower, like how the fuck you growing up and baby say you're childish. I just bought my young bitch a watch and now she wildin', styling, profiling. Yo, come on, bro. Fuck it, take it to trial. Hold on. Gotta do it with the song. Hold on. Dude, I'm fucked with this.